Hello, pre-Merry Christmas, post-Thanksgiving, Happy Holidays, Kwanzaa. What else do people celebrate?
Festivus.
Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Merry Festivus. We are back after, I don't know, a week off or so. Still missing our man Dan, but it's all right. We have Cody Willard, hedge fund manager here, along with Bryce, hedge fund analyst. For the SKTLs weekly call, we have the American badass Joe Anderson down there. And we came packing with some ammo today, so we're all good. How's everybody out there?
I'm going to be playing guitar at the local pizza joint here and singing for an hour and a half, 2 hours on Friday night. And I have a song called American Badass. I'm going to dedicate it to Joe Anderson when I sing
If
it.
you could record that.
Yeah, exactly. That was my next question.
I probably am not confident enough in my live performance to be recording them. So you're going to have to make the sojourn trek down here to enjoy it.
You know what? Yeah. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to show up at your doorstep someday and say hi.
All right. Well, come to the pizza place for sure.
There you
go. I'll bring my golf clubs too.
Let's look. Dan's not here. There is a few space news things we should hit on. Ammo. We need to intro our friend Ammo. Do we say your name out loud here?
Sure, you could say it, or you could just say Ammo.
Well, I'd like to tell them actually who you are.
Oh, Greg Ammirati.
Greg Ammirati. We call him Ammo. Greg sometimes, but try to call him Ammo. That's sort of what he goes by. And sometimes I call him Amo because it could be Spanish. There's like Italian. Gregory Ammirati.
Hey. Yeah.
So Ammo has been on these calls before. He's a space and software executive kind of guy and a friend of mine. So, he and Dan and I have about bi-weekly calls talking about space and business and things anyway. So welcome, Ammo. Good to see you. Or good to hear you.
Thank you.
Good to see your, I don't know, emoticon. Not even an emoticon. It's like a gray figurehead.
A is for ammo.
A is for ammo. There you go. So space news wise, I think several things we should just hit on even briefly. Blue Origin rumored to be, not even rumored, Blue Origin says they're going to be doing launches again starting later this month.
Yeah, it's supposed to be later this month.
Like in the next week or two.
Yeah, they said a couple weeks.
So that's even just yesterday. Ammo and Dan and I were talking about what the heck has happened to Blue Origin. They fired their CEO, who was a Boeing bureaucrat kind of guy, and brought in an Amazon executive to run Blue Origin. What is that, about a month or two ago, Ammo, you think?
Yeah, he officially started December 7th, but was announced like a month before.
So it can't hurt having some a different perspective in there, because the company had really gotten bogged down and struggled and hadn't done a launch in probably a year now. Does that also sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They had a blow up at some point on one of their launches and then just sort of locked everything down, and it got bureaucratically encumbered, might be the phrase for it.
There we go.
Did I hear that Virgin Galactic was Richard was not going to allow any more investment or something? Didn't he do something that?
Sure. Yeah. So Richard said he's not going to invest in Virgin Galactic anymore, and he's the largest one of the largest shareholders still. Chamath, the scumbag who brought that company public through a de-SPACing process, along with about 10 other scumbag companies, including Clover, a healthcare company that Trading with Cody subscribers know. I wrote an expose of its fraud about, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years ago when stock was at 12. Now it's at 90 cents. Anyway, Chamath sold all his Virgin Galactic, and he's not going to be putting any more money in, obviously. He's like hawking his own newsletter on Substack or some crap now, like Trading with Cody or something. And then
scamming with Chamath.
Scamming with Chamath or trading with Cody. Yeah. At least we're not scamming. We're trading. Chamath is gone too. So look, I've been saying for you guys know, for 2 years I've basically been saying when Virgin Galactic had a $70 market stock price and a $22 billion market cap, all they had to do was a 10% dilutive secondary, could have put $2 billion in the balance sheet and never needed any more money. Instead, they waited till the stock went to $7 and did a $200 million convertible, and they're not going to make it. There's not enough money in this world to get them to get their shareholders to the other side, and probably the technology itself is not exciting enough and the business is not good enough to even bother. I don't know what it'll do when it goes bankrupt in the next 6 months to a year, but it probably is some form of bankruptcy. Ammo, you disagree on any of that?
Nope, not at all. Sadly, though, I think it will have a material impact on Spaceport America.
Agreed. It's Bryce's hometown actually is Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, which is the closest town to the spaceport. It's still a good 30 miles away from there because you need to put those spaceports as rural as you can. The good thing for the spaceport, New Mexico, is that it's at a 4,000 foot elevation, which saves you 4,000 feet of travel when you're going to outer space from, say, sea level. But at the bad news is their anchor tenant, Virgin Galactic, is headed to bankruptcy most likely, and also it's built for horizontal launching.
Correct.
And as Ammo can tell you, we need more vertical spaceports and not horizontal spaceports. Because look, again, like this Virgin Galactic and Virgin Orbit both used horizontal launch to try to get things to space, and they both are, well, Orbit's gone, bought out of bankruptcy, at least some of its assets, by Rocket Lab, and Virgin Galactic is on its way out. You guys, what we ought to do, maybe next week, Ammo, you could talk to everybody about spaceports. Ammo is a spaceport expert. He has helped spaceports be built. He's helped with the business modeling of all of that stuff. We'd love to. What do you think of that, Ammo?
Sure, it'd be a pleasure.
Awesome.
Unfortunately, it's a sad story with not a good fairy tale ending.
Not yet. Give it
Not
another
yet.
10 years, man. But yeah, next week we'll have Ammo talk about spaceports. That'll be a specific topic call. That should be fun. The other thing we should mention on space news, the FCC has upheld the ruling that they're not going to give SpaceX the $800 million for rural broadband access that SpaceX was supposed to get to them. Not sure why. It sort of looks like they moved the goalposts on SpaceX / Starlink on this. But I think the United States government and the FCC, at least the left side of the FCC, would prefer to give $3 or $4 billion to crappy fiber optic companies that will be obsolete and can't take a fiber optic cable to the ranch down the road from me out here in rural New Mexico. But I guess that's the plan. So Elon tweeted about it today and made some pretty good points. Yeah, ridiculous. It's not their money, though. FCC doesn't care. It's your money.
This is correct.
The agency problem of the government spending your money, as always. Any other? Nobody's arguing with me on anything. I'm just making great points. Love you guys. Thank you.
I have another question. We were talking about horizontal flight. I don't know if this is true. I saw a snippet about the most recent SpaceX launch that got delayed a little bit. Was it carrying some sort of super secret plane or something? And it was
They launched
going up, and then I don't know what they were going to do with it, but I'm just asking questions and hoping I get answers.
Ammo, you got any insights on that?
Yeah, it was a vertical launch, and the payload that it was carrying is a super secret. I think it's an SX-47, if I remember correctly. I'm going by memory, but it's a military space plane. Its mission and its objectives are TSEC clearance, top secret clearance level. It was supposed to have launched late last night, early morning, and I thought it actually launched successfully, but I only heard that peripherally.
I thought they were delaying until Thursday. Well, let's see. What is today?
Today's Wednesday.
Thursday. But
Could be.
Right here, update number 4, SpaceX scrubs Heavy Falcon launch of USSF's top secret mission again. That was this morning, so
Okay.
maybe tonight it will get out. It was super secret until Ammo just revealed to the world what it was, so thank you for doing that, Ammo.
Exclusive here on the call.
Yeah, USSF and Space Force, don't call me, call it Gregory Amoretti right there.
Yeah. Oh, hang on a second. Somebody's knocking at my door. Oh, it's the FBI.
Better than the CIA. So,
yeah, really.
What is the robot? What does it do?
We don't know. It's super secret.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not a robot. It's some sort of plane.
if
thing.
I saw it, it's not super secret. I mean, it's some sort of.
It says it's robot space plane is what
Oh.
Reuters says.
Yeah. What's really secret is what its capabilities are, where it's going to go, what it's going to do. But I'm sure the Chinese already know.
And they're already building their own, right? They've already got the specs.
trying to figure out how to do it. They're always 10 to 20 years behind us on everything.
Well, Cody, aren't you gonna mention the most important space news? The SpaceX secondary offering. It looks like it's up now, $97 a share.
Well, let's be clear that it's not quite a secondary. It is a tender offer for employees and insider shareholders to get some liquidity out of the company. I don't think the company itself will be selling any of those shares. In fact, I think the company might be buying some of the shares. They have the right of first refusal. We tried to buy some SpaceX shares directly from an executive 6 months or a year ago, and he wanted the only way he thought that we would be able to get the deal done was if we would pay almost double what the going price was. Otherwise, he thought SpaceX would come in and take it from him. That also might have been the pitch, him trying to get us to overpay for it. But yeah, I think that's what's going on there. And I hadn't heard 97. It wouldn't surprise me because I do think there's a lot of demand out there for SpaceX. There are a lot of private exchanges like Republic and Forge and Equity Zen and other places. Stonks no longer with us. Another one, that's a crowdfunding platform that recently closed its doors, we read. But most of those places have some SpaceX. Question is, as always, when it comes to pricing, is there more demand than supply? I'd heard 95. 97 wouldn't surprise me. Where did we get in first, Bryce? About 25? 30?
Yeah, I think that's right. 20. I think it's 25 or 30.
Yeah. So we've been in SpaceX for several years. We bought more earlier this year at what, 87?
No,
We overpaid.
we've overpaid. Yeah.
Nothing's easy in the private markets. But yeah, that's exciting stuff. It's look, SpaceX today said, I don't know if it was today they said this, but SpaceX turned cash flow positive somewhere in the last few months. And they said today revenues next year should be about 15 to 16 billion up from 9 billion this year. And, that's a 55% grower. If they're doing 15 to 16 billion dollars next year, the $95 tender offer price puts the valuation of the company at about 150 billion, which makes it 10 times sales for a company growing 55% annually, which, I mean, the margins at SpaceX are not software margins, but the thing's a freaking monopoly, and it's going to own Mars in 10 years and probably have a civilization on the moon. And in 20 years, it'll be mining gold on asteroids. So yeah, it seems like a pretty good valuation to me. I would buy more SpaceX at this valuation if I could do it easily, and if I knew I wasn't going to have to use what's called a special purpose vehicle, SPV. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The vehicle?
Mm-hmm.
Which is it's a layer. It's like when a company like Equity Zen or Forge or Republic goes along, gets money from a bunch of investors and puts it together, and then buys a chunk from SpaceX or from the employees, but you don't actually own the shares. You own a share of the special purpose vehicle, which is an extra layer of risk. Let's face it. Again, it's not easy to do the stuff in the private markets. I would bet by the end of this year that Starlink has filed for an IPO.
End of 2024.
End of 2024. I guess that's next year.
Next
You
year.
know what I meant. Not in the next 20, what is it? 12
That's
days.
a bold call there, Cody.
Yeah.
Oh, Starlink IPO by Christmas. You heard it here first.
Direct listing. So, no, I think by next year they'll at least have filed, and maybe 2025 we'll get an IPO on Starlink. Chamath is going to de-SPAC it. Joke on the last part. Yes, price.
I've heard 40% gross margins on SpaceX. Is that just for the Starlink business?
Yeah, I would think. I bet the Starlink actually has higher gross margins than that.
Well, 40 is the number that gets thrown around for something.
That might be the total gross margin, which still sounds very high. Sounds very high. That being said, like it's not like Rocket Lab or Blue Origin is able to compete with SpaceX, or anyone else can compete with SpaceX on these big launches or sending humans to space, to the space station. Axiom is supposed to do another astronaut launch, and guess who will be delivering those human beings to the space station when they do it?
Chamath.
No, SpaceX, Cabana.
What's the Russian one? Roscoe.
Rusko. I got several posters in our kitchen that I bought on eBay, which are Russian rocket ship designs and things like that. Yeah. I always think I went to Lithuania in 1998, maybe. Spent several months living in Lithuania and hanging out with former Soviet Union subjects, and I've often been fascinated with the Russian / not even Russian, Soviet culture has always fascinated me. If you haven't listened to the Revolutions podcast and the Soviet, basically, how the Russian Revolution happened in the early 1900s, 1918, 1917.
Yeah, I think 17.
I highly suggest you do that. You know who recommended that podcast to me? Elon Musk.
He said, "Hey, Cody, you all."
No, he might have said it on a Twitter feed when I was blocked.
Oh, okay.
So maybe he didn't actually recommend it to me. Maybe he recommended it to the world, and I happened to see it. But yeah, it's a good podcast. Elon Musk endorsed. But don't hold that against the podcast if you don't like Elon. Cabana. Let's. You're always willing and happy to talk about Hex, and I would like an update on Hex. I read that Richard Hart has probably been served papers by the SEC. Do you have any updates on Hex / Richard Hart that you would like to talk about?
Hold on, let me put on my lawyer hat.
Do you have a lawyer hat? My wife has a lawyer hat.
Oh, okay. This is like just from what I've read from actual lawyers that, actually have a clue as to what is going on. But the paperwork said he was served. It's the equivalent of dropping papers off at a residence in Finland, because I guess the laws are different over there. So he was technically not handed anything or encountered in any way. So
has
there
he?
There are major doubts as to if this would even hold up as actual service. So I don't. Has
he acknowledged the case against him, or does he just sort of hint about it on Twitter and other places and say, "Hey, here's some rules that you guys should learn about"? And he pretends he's a lawyer these days.
Yeah, I mean, he passes that stuff on, and I think perhaps it would be a hope of his that other significant cases, lawyers, pro crypto lawyers, might see some of the stuff that he puts out there. Maybe that's why he's doing that. I don't know. But in his bio, I think he purposely says, doesn't read this, doesn't read that. That way he can't be electronically served. So
do you believe that he will end up back in the U.S. at some point? I asked you this before. You said his mother lives in California, so he'll probably be back. You still think that?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Do you think he's going to come back if or
Not voluntarily,
here
I don't
forever?
think.
It's going to stay in Finland.
If he's even there, I would doubt he's even there.
That was
really.
my next question. You actually believe he's in Finland?
No, not anymore.
Estonia?
Maybe. Norway. France.
Norway's riskier than Estonia for him.
Yeah. I mean, at least.
Where's Andrew Tate? Where's Andrew Tate? Estonia?
Who's familiar with traveling in Europe? Is it true that you can go country to country without much?
If it's part of the EU, yes.
Yeah, documentation showing. Then
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Estonia is not part of the EU, is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Someone out there might know.
The EU will send your ass to the United States if you are being charged with the crime. So that's why he should go to Estonia. I'm giving him legal advice now.
There you go. Well, add him on Twitter.
Yeah, there you go. I bet he's blocked me. I don't know.
I doubt that. Unless you like harassed him or something, I doubt that. So.
Maybe I will harass him.
There you go.
That would be cool.
See, I tagged you. You threw out your tweet last night, and I reposted it. Seeing because it seemed like you were up for the challenge, and nobody...
Well, actually, so I wasn't going to actually ask this question, but since you brought up what I tweeted, I'll bring it up. So Bryce and I were looking at Hex last night. We do that occasionally, and it's at less than half a penny when we looked at it last night, and it was at like 13 cents when I was on your podcast a couple years ago. Yes. And the question I asked in that tweet, I would like to actually hear your answer on it, Cabana. And again, look, I owned SMR and lost 80%, and it was Bryce's fault. So we're not like judging or anything. We're discussing, okay? And I would be curious, what would make you give up on this? The founder is running from the police. The crypto is down 99.9% from its all-time high. It's down 95% since I told people watching your podcast that I thought it was a grift. What would make you be like, you know what? Forget it. I'm getting whatever I've got left in this thing out. And thank you very much, Richard Hart.
I mean, I don't know, because I'm different than a lot, because I'm significantly up without like giving away too much. Like, I'm totally fine with my investment in it, and I'm not affected by that. Now, as for people who are still in it, then let
me give you a little pushback.
That's up to them.
If you put in, I'm making up numbers. I have no idea the magnitude of these numbers, but let's just work with this. Okay. Let's say you put in $10,000 and turned it into $1 million by the time it was at the top. It's now back down to like 8,000 though. Yeah. So
if someone else were in that position, then I mean, you've effectively round tripped it, and it also depends on if they're staked or not, because you get penalized if you end a stake early.
Right.
So there's a lot of
different if you variables. Get penalized by an amount that's less than 99%, which is what your risk is, you can lose still.
It depends upon when the stake was made. If the stake was made in the first year, I mean, you could just totally wreck yourself and get penalized close to 99% because you got all the bonus crypto. But if it was after that, then you can probably at least get some of it back and cash it out if you wanted to do that.
So. To answer the question then, Cabana, please, what would make you give up? Nothing? Is there nothing that would make you sell your
I don't have to give up, because I'm fine. Like, my
change the phrasing. What would make you sell your Hex?
I don't need to sell it.
Ever? Under any circumstance, you would never sell your Hex.
I mean, if stakes come due, sure, then I'll do it. But I'm not just gonna like emergency, nuke my whatever holdings I still have. Just
if you didn't have the stake, would you sell it? If you had not locked the token,
I'd probably take some off. Yeah. More off than I already have, but I've taken plenty off over the years, just because
you were early.
Yeah. And a lot of people just went through their money 15 years out without any flexibility. And I and others, I guess, were front loaded. So you had more flexibility within the system to do that. So you could end your stake and have the optionality of taking some off or all of it, or throwing it back out and laddering it, or whatever the strategy was.
So you're playing with house money right now. I mean, you got enough out that it more than covered what you had in, and so you're playing with house money. So that's why you don't need to get rid of it. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Do you think Richard Hart is still selling some?
I still don't think he needs to. I mean, he's the Bitcoin OG. All the sacrifice money and all that stuff is on chain. Like the $600 million hasn't been touched, as far as anyone can tell. So just sitting there and
I appreciate you being so forward, like willing to talk about this stuff. Like a lot of times when we're down on our investments, we're like, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm not as down. Like some other people are wrecked, and I feel bad for them.
Like there's some lady that we saw yesterday when we were doing this, and her name's like Katie Crypto or something. You probably have seen her.
KDP.
And she's like, did this tweet that we saw, and she was like, I started doing Hex last year, and I don't know why you people are talking trash to me and stuff. And I'm like, well, if you started promoting Hex last year, anybody who listens to you is down 80%.
Right.
I think they would be mad at you. I have subscribers when I give them an idea and it's down 10%, they're mad at me. So people are going to be mad at you, Katie.
She's actually moved over to Hex. She's was mainly on, I guess, Pulse Chain and blockchains. Like she's actually super intelligent. If you talk to her and listen to her talk, like don't let the looks fool you of like some curvy blonde. Like she's super smart, in my opinion. So
I know lots of super smart curvy blondes, including Bryce. Curvy redhead.
All right.
All right.
How about BTC real quick?
Please, anything else? Let's wrap this sucker up.
Well, I mean, we're like closing in back in on 43. We had our like kind of
Fed rally.
Yeah, shellacking there. And we're bouncing back. I mean, do we think we trade up to like 50K? I think that's like the next level that we could come back from. I would love, and I've said this like I guess weeks ago, I would love to chop around here. I said that when I think we were like below 40K. I'd still like some consolidation and like build out maybe like a nice little flag, but I don't know if it wants to do that right now. It's acting like it did. What year was that? The last time it like ran hard,
a couple of years ago,
21,
late 2020.
There.
And it did not let you in for months.
Cabana, I am concerned that there is a greed and euphoria and mania that's back. We had the
it feels that way, but at the same time, I would also argue that so many people are expecting the dump. Like I hear more of in the crypto community, just as soon as the BlackRock news comes out, it's dumping. It's
sell the news. Like, it's a sell the news event.
That's the consensus.
That's a good call out. I think you're on
like flipping the flip, as you said.
The couple thoughts. Number one, I do think that there are other, like there's more prosecutions and jail sentences and fines that Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ, Richard Hart, and I think next is Brian Armstrong. I think Coinbase is in trouble. I think there's a whole thing going on with the cryptos themselves. We were looking at Bonk yesterday, which is some stupid crypto that's up 12,000% in a month.
Bonk. I've never heard of that one.
Oh my God, wow. Bonk, man. $700 million market cap all of a sudden.
Oh, of course it does.
That's for looking chart
of
any asset.
Just buy it. Just buy the Bonk. We had a lady we were trying to help learn about crypto and Robinhood. We were just trying to help a local here yesterday, and she was like, I want to buy Bonk. We were like, what's Bonk?
Oh boy.
So Bonk, I think that type of stuff is a problem. I don't think Bitcoin is necessarily going to be terribly affected by any of that. Bitcoin is its own beast. It's its own, like it's hit critical mass. It's the real deal. I think crypto in general is back in a bubble, scary kind of territory. Most people buying crypto right now are going to lose 90 to 99% of whatever they're putting in it. And I'm not talking about the next week or two. Going back to your question about Bitcoin itself, I I don't have any feel for near term. All currency roads lead to Bitcoin in the end. I'll own my Bitcoin forever. There is nothing that would make me sell my Bitcoin unless the United States regulators, lawmakers outright outlaw. If they outlaw crypto and Bitcoin, I will sell my Bitcoin, but that would be the only thing.
And just eyeballing like casually this chart right here, this seems like a natural area to consolidate. I would love weeks of consolidation right here before another move up, but we'll see. Like we were saying, end of 2020 there on the left. I mean, it did not let anybody in for months. It was a crazy run. So when the animal spirits of the crypto bulls get going, it's hard to stop, and it can go way higher than people think. So
Yeah.
not saying it will.
Including Bonk.
Bonk. Well, I mean, if Bonk's going up, then
pull up the Bonk chart. Type in Bonk crypto price and go to CoinMarketCap and show everybody this thing. I bet it's down 22% today or up 12% today.
Oh, I bet it's up.
You think it's? Oh, it's got to be up on the news.
Oh,
Yeah, that fed the mania. It's going to be up 44% today. You got Bonk?
Is that Bonk?
No, that's not Bonk.
14.2%.
There you go.
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
Where's it traded at?
I don't know, bro.
Qcoin.
Oh, wow. Is that it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that looks more like the chart we saw yesterday. Don't go weekly. Go daily.
I like weekly for the long term.
Well, yeah, but this thing's only been around for like
All right,
6 months. Scroll out now. No, we need more context. There you go. That's the chart I wanted you to look at.
Holy smokes.
What can go wrong? Buy that fucker.
Where were we a week ago?
Paula hadn't told me about it yet. Paula, the pizza lady, 79-year-old pizza lady down the street, pitching Bonk to me yesterday.
Oh man, that makes me bearish. When,
yeah, Cabana, this is I blame you for not knowing about this one.
When pizza ladies and taxi drivers start pitching, that gets me a little on edge.
That is my point. I'm a little concerned about the greed in the markets, in the stock markets, much less the crypto markets at this particular December 13th, 2023. I'll make this prediction, and then anybody else can have last word. Bonk will be down 90% from this level within 1 year.
1 year.
You know what you know why Bonk exists? You know what its purpose is?
No one knows.
It's a dog themed token.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Shiba Inu, whatever that is.
Shiba Inu, that thing's worth billions. Bonk's on its way, I guess.
And you can't even buy Bonk legally in the U.S. because it's on exchanges that are banned here.
Yeah, it's only on exchanges that are banned here. I wonder if it's even on PancakeSwap, which is legal here, but it's a peer-to-peer. It's not an actual exchange.
I don't know.
It's a facilitator, not an exchange, I think.
I'm looking at a bunch of the quote-unquote expert, pundit reviews, and nobody is saying it'll ever hit $1.
What, Bonk?
Yeah.
What's it at right now?
A millionth of a penny, I think.
Yeah, and they're saying that their algorithm says the highest expected price is 0.000319 by January of 2049.
I will take the other side of that. I will take the other side of that bet. Anybody want to bet that by 2049?
It's a 25-year short.
25-year short. I love it.
Man, could somebody lend me some Bonk? I'll sell it immediately.
Oh my gosh.
Peace and love and happiness, everybody. Bryce, you got last word?
No, go ahead.
No, you got last word. What were you going to say?
Why, if you're gonna make your own crypto, why wouldn't you make it with a price of like $1 to start with? Why would you make it a millionth of a penny?
Because people like Paula are like, I can buy 1 million of these things for $10.
That's right.
That's really why?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
I would actually add to it. When Satoshi released the Bitcoin to the world, he did not have founder tokens, and then he did the first buy of it at a tiny fraction of a penny, and that is, obviously part of the culture of crypto too. So everybody pictures, hey, if I had bought Bitcoin in 2009, it would have cost me 1/100th of a penny, and today it's $40,000. So that psychology is part of what fuels the greed. I'm buying bonk at 1/1,000,000th of a penny. When it gets to 40,000, I'll be a trillionaire.
Hey, if Paul is driving a Lamborghini in a few weeks, you guys are going to be.
Hey, man. And God bless Paul. I honestly, we learned stuff listening to her. She was tapped in. Like, it was a great meeting. So, and genuinely, I like Paula. She's a cool lady. So I hope it all works out. Same thing with you, Cabana and the Hex, man. I got no qualms with Hex working. I hope it works. A lot of people are in it. So,
Same here. I'm down if it does. So
yeah, bro. Yeah. All right, peace and love. Ammo, last word.
I have nothing.
American Badass, last word.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Cabana Crypto, last word.
That's it.
Merry Christmas.
Wait, can I get let's see if we can get yeah, there you go. Bye, everybody.
All right.
Love you.